Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video is going to be the Dallas Karting Complex Rental League Race Pre-Final. Now for this race, I will be starting in 13th out of 20 people, which is really not that great. Qualifying did not go perfectly for me. I didn't have a fast kart. I didn't have a slow kart, I just had like an average kart. And unfortunately, when you get an average kart around DKC, you're probably not going to be up at the top, not when there are faster karts out there. But for qualifying, I did draft with my brother because my brother was in town on this day, and him and I bump drafted the whole time, so our times were very similar. My brother is starting in 9th place. He's 2 karts in front of me, so you will be seeing him at some point in this race. So I'm starting in 13th. That's about mid-pack, a little less than mid-pack, and that's really not good. Mid-pack around DKC rental races usually tend to have carnage, so my goal for the start of this race is just keep my nose clean. Don't want to get into any incidents, and since I'm starting on the left side, which is the inside for the first corner, just hold it narrow, try and make sure people don't track me out wide and push me off track. That is easier said than done, but that is my strategy going into this race. So everyone's in formation now, and we're about to finish the warm-up lap. We're on the front straight now, and as soon as the flagman waves green, I'm going to put the pedal to the metal. So I'm watching the flagman waves green, we're good to go. Right off the bat, the left-hand side of the grid gets a pretty good start. We move up into 11th place. Going through turn 1, lots of tire smoke. That's my brother in kart 10, locking up the tires. We pass him, move up into 9th temporarily, and then we're stuck on the outside going through this corner up here. Move down into 11th place. And then coming out of this corner right here, we can see there are still people going side by side through this right-hander. And that is our friend Dylan in kart number 19. So if he's quick, if he's got a good kart, we're going to try and work together with him. Going through the left-hander up here, we can see plenty of people off mowing the grass. Another person rejoining the track. We move up into 9th place. Going down the main straight here, kart number 9 got poor momentum coming out of the corners. So we're going to try and dive on the inside going into turn 1. We're going to go 3 wide into turn 1, but I've got the inside and I move up into 8th place. So up ahead, you can clearly see that the race has not yet settled down. People are going side by side through almost this entire race so far. So going into this right-hander up here, I'm going to make it 3 wide. I'm going to join the side-by-side action. And we're going to go down into 9th temporarily, but I've got the inside for these next couple of corners, so I'm not too worried about losing a position to that guy back there. And now people are starting to go single file, and this is where we're going to start picking people off one by one. As we go to pass kart number 26 here, you can see my top end was quite good on this kart. I felt that I had a pretty good kart. And when you have a good kart in these kinds of races, especially rental races, you got to make the most of it. So when I go to pass someone, I got to pass them and pull away from them and try and gain as many positions as possible. Obviously, that's everyone's goal in a race, but when you've got a good kart, you got to make the most of it. So up ahead, we have kart number 18, and I felt that kart 18 was a little slow coming out of this left-hander right here, so I dive up the inside going to this second left-hander. Give him plenty of room on the outside. He's trying to hold it around the outside for these next couple of corners. I've got a better top-end kart, and I also have someone behind me pushing me, working together with me. So you can see me nod my head up and down, telling the guy behind me, thanks for the push, let's keep it up. Going through turn 1 here, I think he pushed me a little too much and he kind of pushed me out wide. I can see him right there, so I know he's there. He's putting pressure on me, and hopefully he's willing to work together with me throughout this race and we can go up into first place. But we're in 6th place now. We're only on lap 4. We've got plenty of laps to go, so hopefully we can start catching up to the people in front. Dylan is the next kart in front, and he's running kart 19. Now, my brother had kart 19 in qualifying, and he said that the top end wasn't that great. It's good everywhere else, top end wasn't that great. So if I do catch up to Dylan, which I think I will, I'm not going to work together with him because I know he has a lesser kart compared to mine, and I don't want to get stuck behind him. So you can see I am slowly catching up to Dylan right now, and my rule is that if you catch up to someone multiple kart lengths within 1 lap, you shouldn't really work together with them. they might have a bad cart or they might be a bad driver. In this case, Dylan had a bad cart, so I don't want to get stuck behind him. He taps his helmet. He obviously wants me to work together with him. I'm not going to work together with him. He waves me on by. He's not going to fight me, which is really nice because he didn't have to do that. So now we're up into 5th place. We see the top 4 right in front of us. The guy who was pushing me still poking his nose through, but I'm not fazed by that. I know he wants to work together and catch up to the top 4. So we can see the top 4 up ahead. They are pretty close, and they aren't working together. They are fighting a lot. So this will allow myself and the guy who's pushing me behind to catch up with them. So we're finishing lap 6 here, and just look at the gap between the top 4 right now, and we're going to compare the gap at the end of lap 7. It's going to be significantly smaller. And at this point, I'm thinking, how am I going to pass these guys? Because these guys are fighting a lot. You can see they're going side by side through almost every corner, and that's going to slow them down a lot. So when you catch up to a group like this, you want to pass them as easily as possible. You don't want to get caught in their fighting. So I'm going to try and take advantage of their fighting. Obviously, that's really hard because you can't predict what each driver is going to do. But I'm going to try and time my passes correctly. So we're ending lap 7 here. You can see the gap has significantly gotten smaller. We're still not within striking range, but like I said, they're trying to pass each other constantly, so striking range is going to be in a couple corners. Now, when you catch up to a group like this, they're usually focused on each other. They're not focusing on me catching up to them. So I'm going to try and use the element of surprise, if at all possible, because they probably don't know I'm here. And if I go for a move, they'll have their guard down. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Obviously, it's easier said than done. So I'm going to try and not bump cart 30 right here. And going through this left-hander right here, I'm going to try and get right on cart 30's bumper, pull along in his slipstream, and try and get him through turn 1. But I can clearly see going down the straight here, he's got really good top end, and it's probably better than mine. It's going to be a really late move going through turn 1 here. And I got to say, cart 30 did a really good over-under right here, and he passed me back. So this was an indicator of just how good their carts were, so I probably won't be able to pass them on the straights because their carts are similar to mine. So my new plan is work together with cart 30. I think he's a good driver, and I'm going to try and push him down the straight, so if he goes for any moves, I'm just going to follow him. So we're about to get onto the straight here. I'm really close to cart 30 right now. You're going to see just how good his cart is in a straight line. So I'm right on his bumper. You can see he's pulling away from me. So I think his cart had more top end than mine. Going through turn 1 here, he's going to dive on the inside of cart 20. I'm going to push him, and I follow him, and we both pass cart 20. So that was beneficial to both of us. We're now up into 4th place. Cart 30 messes up this left-hander right here. He gets all over the place. And I'm going to have the outside for this right-hander up here. He's going to look on the inside, doesn't get the job done, and now we're up into 3rd place. So I did say I wanted to work together with cart 30, but he did mess up that left-hander back there. And when someone messes up, especially when you're working together with them, don't slow down and stay behind them. If they're messing up, pass them. So I got past them. He did push me down the straight here, so I think he thought I was a good enough driver to work with. So going down the straight, he did push me, and now our next objective is cart 24 up ahead. So right now, I'm thinking about my strategy. Should I pass 24 or should I work together with 24? So if I pass 24, we could end up battling too much, and then 1st place would just be out of the equation. If I work together with 24 and he's slow, then 1st place will be out of the equation as well. So down the straight, this is going to tell me, should I pass or should I work together? So going down the straight here, we're going to see that 24 doesn't have the best straight line speed in the world. So we're going to try and pass him as soon as possible. Now, fortunately, the gap to the next cart behind us is pretty big. We don't have to worry about anyone attacking us, so I can spend my time and energy on cart 24. I want to pass him as easily as possible. I don't want to spend too much time trying to pass him so we can hunt down the guy in 1st place. So going through this left-hander up here, luckily he goes a little too wide through that corner, and I dive up the inside, Didn't lose a whole lot of time. Obviously, I'm off the racing line, so it's not the fastest way, but we do move up into second place. Going down the straight here, I look behind me, and I'm going to tap my helmet, point forward, tell him, don't fight, let's catch up to first place. Going into turn 1 up here, he is going to look for the move. You can see he gave me a little tap going through turn 1. You can see his nose there, but he didn't quite get the move done, and now we can focus our time and energy on P1. So you can see up ahead the gap to first place is quite large, so it's going to be quite hard to catch up to him, especially with how many laps we have left. Obviously during the race I had no idea how many laps we had left. I don't have a micron on my steering wheel or a lap counter to tell me, but I can kind of sense we're getting towards the end stages of this race. So I'm going to put my head down, try and catch up to P1. I looked behind me at the beginning of the straight just to make sure I don't have to worry about anyone from behind, and the gap to the next person behind is quite large, so I can focus all my time and energy on catching up to P1. So one thing I noticed when I went down the straights is that I was not catching up to him and he was not pulling away from me, so that means that our carts are similar in straight line speed. I don't know about handling could be different, but in terms of straight line speed, our carts are very similar. So that means I'm gonna have to close the gap in between myself and first place through the corners alone. So we're starting lap 15 now, and that means there are only 2 more laps left in this race. You can see the gap to the cart in first place is quite large. Coming out of turn 1 though, he does mess up. He went a little too wide, and then going through this right left-hander right here, I'm gonna catch up to him. So like I said, I'm gonna have to catch up to him through the corners. He is making mistakes, so that's telling me he knows I'm behind him and he knows I'm catching up. And hopefully, if he continues to make these mistakes, we'll be able to pass him. But we're ending lap 15 now. We're starting lap 16. Definitely not close enough to go for a move in turn 1. It would be an almighty dive bomb. Look behind me just to make sure there's no one gonna pass me. And the gap is getting smaller. Going through turn 1, he is gonna make the same mistake. He goes really wide, and that's gonna close the gap down. Going through this quick right left-hander up ahead, this is where I catched up to him the most. You can see we're only a couple cart lengths behind him, still not quite within striking distance of him. So if we're gonna pass him, it's gonna be a pretty late pass. Going through this left-hander right here, we're still not close enough. Going through this left-hander right here, he does get a little sideways. We're right on his bumper. This is for first place, and we're just not gonna have enough speed to pass him, and we're gonna have to take home second. So good driving from Kart 14. He was making a couple mistakes at the end. If we would have had one more lap, maybe I would have had a chance at first, as I give him a little fist bump there to say good job. But I started in 13th, got up to second place. I'm happy with that. That means in the final, we're going to be starting in second, and hopefully we can take home a podium. Now my next video is not going to be the final race, it's actually going to be my brother's perspective of the pre-final race. I put a camera on his helmet and he had quite an eventful race, so that's going to be my next video, so make sure you're looking out for that. But that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please comment below. Thank you guys for watching and have a good day.